Good morning, everybody. As we go to the Chitas of today, we're holding on in the book of Shemais, the book of Exodus. We are holding on the chapter in the book of in the Pasha B'Shalach. We're holding on chapter 14, verse number 15. God said to Moshe, why are you crying out to me? Dabel b'nei Yisrael, speak to the Jewish people of Yisrael, and let them journey forth. Rashi says, this teaches us that the moment that Moshe was standing in prayer, he was davening, praying. So the Holy One, blessed be He, said to him, now is not the time to prolong in prayer. Why? Because the Jews are in distress. Therefore, now is a time of action, not the time of prayer, it's a time for everything. Another explanation, Matitzak alai, why you're crying to me, the matter is dependent dependent upon me and not upon you. And it says, as it says elsewhere, will you instruct me concerning my sons, the work of my hands? I know what's happening with the Jews. You don't got to tell me what's going on. Dabel Neisel, therefore tell the Jewish people, all they have to do is to travel. For the sea is not going to stand in their way. The merit of the forefathers and their own merit, as well as the merit of the faith they showed when they left Egypt, is enough to split the sea for them. And that's all they got to do is travel into the sea. You'll lift up your staff and you'll lift it over the sea, and you'll split the sea. And the Jewish people will go in the midst of the sea by a bush in the dry land. But I'm going to strengthen the heart of Pari. And they're going to come after you. Because I'm going to strengthen the heart of Pari. In his entire army. Russia, his chariots and horsemen. The Yodam Mitzrayim and the Egyptians will know. Kani Hashem, I am God. Because when I glorified through Pharaoh, through his strengthening of his heart, with his chariots and his horsemen. Verse 19, so the angel of God, who was advancing in front of the Jewish camp, went behind them. And also the pillar of cloud, which was there in front of them, it stood behind them. Why did it go behind them? To separate between the Egyptian camp and the Jewish camp. And number two is to absorb the arrows and the projectors from the Egyptians. They were throwing them arrows, so now they could throw to whatever they want. There was a wall. Elsewhere, everywhere else, it says a Malach Hashem, but it's here, over here, it says Malach Elokim. Whenever it says Malach Elokim, it's using judgment. This teaches us that the Jews were being judged at that time, whether they would be saved or destroyed by the Egyptians. That's why it says Malach Elokim, because this was a serious time for the Jewish nation. At nightfall, when the pillar of cloud handed over to the Jewish camp to the pillar of fire, the cloud did not disappear completely, as usual did in the evening, but it moved and went behind the Jews in order to make dark the Egyptians. Verse 20, it came between the camp of the Egyptian camp, the cloud turned everything into dark. But the pillar of fire light up the night. And that entire night, even though they were both in the same area, one of them did not touch the other. This may compare, Rashi says, to going on a journey with his son walking ahead of him, when somebody's going on a journey with his son, bandits came to capture the son. So what did the father do? He took him from the front of him and placed him behind him. Then wolves came behind him. So he placed in front of his son, in front of him. Bandits came in front of him and wolves behind him. So what did he do? So he placed his son in his arms and fought against him. Similarly, did God for Israel. As it says, I led Ephraim and I took him upon my arms. God carried the Jews. It was cloud and darkness for the Egyptians. But the pillar of light was night, was light for the Jews. It went ahead of them as it would do every night, but the darkness and the cloud in front of the Egyptians hid the light from them. But a cut of Zeh, one did not reach the other camp. Verse 21, Moshe Rabbeinu raised his hand over the sea. And God drove back the sea through the night. The entire night, a powerful wind came and it pushed the sea apart. It turned the sea into dry land. And the water split. Now she says, Beruach Kodim, with an east wind, which is the most powerful of winds, the east wind. The east wind is the wind in which the Holy One, blessed be He, exacts punishment upon the wicked. As it says in Yirmiyahu, Beruach Kodim afitzim, like an east wind, I will scatter them. The east wind will come, and the wind of God is the wind of God. And the east wind broke you into the heart of the sea. So that's the east wind. What means is the water split? Rashi says a beautiful medrash. Kol mayim sheba'olam. Not only the wind, not only did the water split in this sea, every water split. That's an interesting medrash. And what was the point of this? That every water split in the world. That's why the entire world heard about the crossing, the splitting of the sea. Because every water in every place was split. And the Jewish people went to the midst of the sea, on the dry land. And the water formed the wall, from the right and the left. And the Egyptians ran after them. And they followed them. Kol Sus Pari, all the chariots of Pari, Vidaf Rasha, all the guys came in. Al Techayam. Ashes Sus is singular. Was there only one hearse? She says again, we did by God, or many horses is one. That's why many times in the scripture we find for many, when it comes to animals, many is said in the way of one. It was early in the morning. This is early on Shvi Shal Pesach. That's why it's a custom to stay up a whole night till early in the morning. And then God looked down upon the camp of Egypt. With a fire. In the darkness. And he threw the camp Egyptian into confusion. Now she says, the Gemara says there are 3 divisions of the night, and they are called Ashmeidus, watches. And the one before the morning is called Ashmeidus HaBoker, the morning watch. I am of the opinion that because the night is divided into assigned shift, Mishmeidus, regarding the song of the ministering angel, one group sings after another into 3 divisions. So that's why you see when the Malach, the angel, was fighting with Yaakov, he said, my turn came to sing to God. I have to get out of here. You can't hold me here. I have my Ashmeidus. I have my time that I have to be sing to the Eibush. So it's divided. That's why it's called Ashmeidus. Ashmeidus is the concept of a group, of a time. Sign shift, a shift. Really, Ashmeidus is shifts. So the 2 explanations with Ashmeidus are watches or shifts. So either there's explain it as 3 watches a night, or you find it 3 shifts, 3 different shifts. The Gemara says there are 3 different shifts. Yashkev, What means Vayashki? Looked down. In other words, he turned towards them to destroy them. Unkelis kanzvi ischase. It connotates looking, just as the word sefer, stay at seifim. Hakalt sukoisa, lookout fields. Bamud Aish. Rashi said the pillar cloud came down and made the dry seabed like mud. And then the pillar of fire made it boiling hot. So the horse's hooves fell off. So now that's why you understand why there was confusion. He confounded them by removing their signs so that the formation of their camp fall apart. We learn in Pirkei de Rabbi, whenever the scripture, whenever Torah writes Muhuma, confusion is mentioned, it connotates a thundering sound. This is the classic example. God's thunder with a great sound against the Philistines, and he threw them into confusion. Verse 25, and he moved the wheels of the chariots. Treating them heavily. And the Egyptians said, we better run. Because God is fighting for them against the Egyptians. As a result of the fire, the wooden wheels were burned off, and thus the chariots were dragging along, and those riding them were shaken about, and their limbs became disjointed. They were totally, the riding had an extremely a rough ride. Rashi says he treated them that way, heavy, the kveda, and harshened them, because exactly what they did. They became harsh, so God became harsh. That's midah keneged midah. And so it's not he threatened, he treated them heavily. They suddenly became very heavy. They couldn't move. It was very difficult. The chariots became heavy. They became heavy. And that's why they said that the Eibishter is punishing us. We're getting punished for exactly what we did. He's fighting for them against the Egyptians. Another explanation, Bimitzrayim, actually means in Egypt. This is what we say in the Haggadah, that just as the sea they were being punished, so too in Egypt they were being punished. So the Egyptians were feeling this pain and suffering at the sea, and also to those that stayed in Mitzrayim. And then we complete the Chumash for today. We're holding the 20th chapter of Tanya, and the Alter Rebbe is explaining the concept of the aspect of Ladas Hashem. You should know that there's two concepts. There's a concept of knowing God, and there's a concept of belief in God. Says the Rambam writes that a person, that God created the world, that is not a concept of Amunah. That every logical, intellectual person can come to a conclusion that God created the world. Because as you can see from the world itself, nobody's going to say a building came by itself. You see a building, you know that there was an architect and there was a builder. You see a painting, you don't say somebody spilled a bottle of ink on it and it came about this, even though modern art looks like that. But in general, Rembrandt, you don't say that it was somebody spilled ink upon it and it came about this painting. You see actually that there's a painter. And that is logical. From my body, I can see God. The Maggid taught that we can see the Eibishter for ourselves. Even the concept of neshama and body, we can see that there's a neshama, there's a life force. Whether I can see the life force or not, I know that there's a person that's alive and a person that's the opposite of life. They're both there physically, the bodies, but there's no life. And the life force is, whether I see it or not, I know that there's a life force in this body. So it's not a munah that there's a life force in the body. I know there's a life force in the body. So I know I can comprehend certain things from my body logically. I don't have to come on to Munah, to many things in what people think they have to believe in. We can come logically. That's why there's a mitzvah, das Hashem, to know God. Because there's many aspects in godliness that we can know simply from ourselves. And we can look within nature and see that there's a godly force behind it. So here we have an analogy the Alter Rebbe gives from ourselves. We can see a concept of infinity from ourselves. And that is the word in comparison to the essence of my soul. And I can understand this concept. The one word has no value to the essence of the soul. And that you don't have to have a munah. You don't have to have a faith in this concept. You have to have knowledge of this concept. This is something that was given to the human being to have knowledge. So you should be able to understand. You won't ever understand the essence of infinity, but to understand that there can be a concept of a difference between one word a person says to all the words that he can say. Everybody can understand. There's a great difference between the two. One is a very finite entity. And again, that the capacity of my speech is infinite. And for surely to my thought, I can understand that thought to one word is infinite to a finite entity. So now you're taught also a concept of everything is relative. My soul to my body is infinite. Now, self to God, they're both finite. But I can understand that my soul to my body is infinite. Thought to speech is infinite. The capacity of thought to speech is infinite. So even though you're right to God, they are both finite, but we have an analogy to the concept of infinity in our day-to-day life. And why did God do that? Because God wants us to understand this concept. He doesn't want us to have belief in God in these things that have no rationalization. No. We should rationalize. As the Rambam writes, there's a mitzvah l'das Hashem. There's a mitzvah to know God. The first commandment of God is that I should know God. Self-understood, I can't know the essence of God. But I can know many aspects of godliness, that I can come to a rational comprehension of godliness. So let's go to this example. Just like in the soul of man, when he says one word, this one word is absolutely nothing. I feel even in comparison to the articulated soul, the power of speech as a whole. So my power of speech is unlimited. And the Baruch Hashem, the Eibush gives us speech unlimited. As long as we live, we have the power of speech. And it's not limited. You are not limited to how many words you can speak. Which this alone, the power speech, is only the soul's middle garment, meaning the organ of expression, which named the faculty of speech. The soul, as we mentioned, has three garments: thought, speech, and action, of which speech is the middle one, which action being lower than it, and thought higher than it. One word has no value even to the comparison of this faculty of thought. They could say the same thing: thought to action, shava dibur, even speech to action, is like Ein Sof. Action is very limited. In comparison to speech, is unlimited. So you can say actually, action to speech to action is like Ein Sof to. So everything's relative. Since the faculty of speech, when the Eibishter gave the capacity of speech to a person, he didn't say a limit to how long you could speak or how much you can speak, the number of words. There's an infinite amount of words you can speak. As long as you live, you can speak. You want to speak 24/7, speak. So it's next to infinity, so to say. One word has no value whatsoever. And we can understand this. It's not a very philosophical concept. In actual practice, there is a limit to the number of words that one can speak. But you're going to live a certain amount of time. However, this is only because the physical organ involved in speech has a limited functional ability. The soul capacity to speech is limitless. So if you want to say, oh, but there is a limit to speech because I basically only going to live 120 years. So let's evaluate how much I'm going to say you can make. You can scientifically figure out mathematically how many words you're going to say during your lifetime. Okay, let's say that even that 1 to how many words you're going to come to? What is that? What's comparison 1 word to 1 billion words you're going to say? Garnish. Okay, but it's still 1 to 1 billion. You can make an evaluation. But what about the capacity of speech in the soul? Forget about the speech of in the mouth. You're right. That will come to an end. But speech in the soul never comes to an end. The Kolshkein La, go deeper. Don't go into the capability of speech. Go a step higher. That's machshava. Surely the word has no value compared to the innermost garment of the soul, which is thought. Which speech comes through thought. Cannot speak without thought. So therefore, and it's actually the life force of speech is thought. Since thought is higher and closer to the soul than speech, this one word surely has no value to thought. But we can go a little deeper. Again, this is something a person can understand in his own mind. Forget about the capacity of thought of the soul. The soul itself. Because that the soul garb itself in thought, it means that within the soul, there is the capacity of speech, of thought. And thought. Which is all through the concept of speech. Which derives from them the letters of thought. That it clothes itself in speech. When this person says it. So since all man's thought are either of intellectual or emotional nature, they derive from the soul's intellectual or emotional faculties. When one speaks, the letter of his thoughts descend to another level. That's why, in essence, when I want to speak chesed, it comes from the chesed. The attribute of chesed is talking. When I want to talk gevura, it comes from the attribute of gevura. That's where my words are coming from. So you should know this in general, that a person that likes to talk gevura, he's a harsh individual because he uses out his attribute of gevura more than his attribute of chesed. And some people are that. Some people like to talk calmly, divrei chachamim benachas nishmo. In general, wise people talk in nachas. They talk calmly. They talk softly, because they talk from the attribute of chesed, and chesed talks softly. That's the attribute of chesed. So they're using out the essence of who they are in the way they speak, because that comes from that place. Because thought alone is speech. Because we think with the words. The difference is that the speech in my thought is more refined, it's more spiritual. That's why sometimes the way I think and the way I speak can come out 2 different ways. I can think I'm speaking kindness, but it comes out to the other person as harsh. A lot of times we don't realize that it's harsh. We think with us speaking, we're speaking it very nicely. But to the other person, it's harsh. Because your thought can be much more refined than your words. But the 10 attributes of Chachma, Bin, and Das, Chesed, Gevurah, Tiferes, beauty, Chesed, kindness, and severity, and Sheidu Shemakam, they are the source, they're the root, and the source of this thought. In the way it's in Chesed, there's no words to it yet. It's a movement. Before it comes into thought, it's just a concept. I don't have the words yet. That's why you understand that a person that has chesed, once it comes to machshava, it can be much more different than the chesed that he has. And ultimately, when it comes in dibur, it comes into words, it's even harsher. So letters are formed only when they applies his thought to a particular idea or a feeling, as explained further. So since the intellect and emotional soul powers are so subtle and amorphous, they cannot be defined even in terms of spiritual thoughts letters. They are obviously oblivious of all and of any of an altogether different, more spiritual order than thought, and the spoken word is surely without any value and comprehension to them. So my thought and my attribute of chesed is totally two different realities. So I can come to realize these concepts in my mind. I can understand Ipsadi from my own body, how we have different realities within myself. I have different realities. I have words. I have thought. I have who I really am, my attribute itself, my midas. That's why Chassidus demands to work on midas tovos. Torah demands to work on midas tovos, to work on your attributes. You're always working on after the action, when really we need to work on why this action is happening. Why am I a harsh person? Why am I having these kind of feelings? I got to go to the essence of who I am. My midah tovos. I need to work on my midah. I need to work on chesed, my chesed, which is difficult. But if I fix my midah, if I fix my character, I'll fix everything. I'll fix my thought, I'll fix my speech, and I'll fix my action. Because I worked on my midah, because I worked on my character. I became a better character, better characteristics. The marshal, for example, when suddenly a person is conscientious of a certain love or desire in his heart, he suddenly has a taiva. He doesn't know what the taiva is yet. He cannot give words to it. He knows he's being drawn to something. Something is pushing him. He has suddenly a chemda. He has this taiva, it's in his heart, and that's drawing him. And that's why he finds these issues. People find things to be happy about or to complain about. That's why Torah says later, when people complain, people are looking to complain. People are looking. We have this taiva to complain. It makes us feel good when we complain about something. When we can catch somebody else doing something wrong, we're not happy. Unhappiness subsides this taiva. We have a taiva to this. We haven't put it in words yet. Before it went from the heart to the mind, He's not even thinking about it, but he has, where can I find something? You can do this. This can be used in both ways. People have something about taiva to learn. They don't know exactly what they want to learn. They have this taiva. They have a taiva. They have a desire to learn. They have a desire to do good. They're not sure what the good is going to be. But they wake up in the morning and they want to take over the world. They wake up in the morning and they want to do good. Now they have to go and they have to think about it. Now it comes to what do you have to do? How am I going to make this good? How am I going to make this day a better day? So first is this desire, innate desire. Before it goes to the mind, lachshev, lahadeba, before it goes to the mind to ponder on it. I'm a isha chesed. I'm a man of kindness. I have a desire to do good. At that moment, when a person has a desire within his heart to do good, because he's isha chesed, because he's a good person, he has a good character, he has a positive character trait, and he wakes up in the morning, and instead of thinking it's a bad day, he thinks it's going to be a great day. And he jumps out of bed because he knows it's going to be a great day. It has that feeling. And that moment, he doesn't have words to it. He doesn't have letters to it. He has a simple desire. I want a great day. That's the Maidani. The Maidani is I want a great day. What's going to be the day? I don't know. I want a great day. I want a soul day. I want a soul day. That's a general concept. I don't know what that is yet. But if a person wakes up in the morning and he has that power, he doesn't wake up in the morning sluggish. He wakes in the morning with jumps out of bed, like it says in Shulchan Aruch. A person wake up in the morning, you say, Maidan, jump out of bed. After the person goes and hits the snooze button and goes back to sleep, shows that he's not excited about the day. He's not so excited. He wants to go back to sleep. He doesn't feel it's going to be a great day. Subconsciously, he might not be feeling it's going to be a great day. So this is the thing. A person should work on his character, chesed. Wakes up in the morning, says, wow, what a chesed the Eibishter gave me. God gave me another day. Baruch Hashem. God gave me the ultimate chesed. God trusts me. God showed the ultimate handset of kindness. Gave me another day. I should jump out of bed, freshen myself up, and get ready for the day. Do I know what's going to be exactly? I don't know. That's why the first thing a Jew does, he gets up in the morning, goes davens, goes and prays. Goes and prays to the Eibishter. He's happy for the day. Haidul Hashem Kitayv. Baruch Hashem. I want to thank God for this new day. I don't know what's going to be yet. It's going to be a good day. It's going to be a phenomenal day. Hanech Menetzvah. This is hopefully that's his affection. And all the more so before he began to feel in his heart a craving and a desire for that thing. Yet it was confined within the realm of his intellect, understanding, and his knowledge. Das. Right? Everybody has a subconscious feeling that's going to be a good day. Hopefully. I subconsciously feel that's going to be a good day. Why shouldn't I feel it's going to be a good day? Why should I have a negative feeling when I wake up in the morning that's going to be a bad day? And if I do have that negative feeling, then I'm going to work on that. That's the problem. So hopefully everybody has a feeling it's going to be a great day. Yesterday was yesterday. Today is a new day. Baruch Hashem, had a good night's sleep. It's going to be a great day. That's even in his mind. He has that feeling. Doesn't know why. It's a new day. Be a great day. Meaning that the thing that was known to him.
No.
Thing was known to him that it was going to be a good day in his subconscious, that today is going to be a good day. something good and pleasant to attain and to cling to. Again, for example, he's gonna learn today. He's gonna eat today. He's gonna have good breakfast. He booked already a good lunch. In the state of intellect apprehension of the desirable object, before the appreciation has been developed into an emotion, there's certainly no letters present in his mind. He just knows a concept. Now he starts to think about it. After the desire and the craving has already descended into his heart, meaning after they have developed into an emotion through the stimulus of his wisdom, understanding, and knowledge, now he starts to think about it. Now he starts to understand what this day is going to be. So now he thinks about it. And after it descends once again from the heart back to the brain, how to implement his desire by actually obtaining the food, or actually studying the subject. Now, at this point, one applies his thought to implementing his desires. The letters are born in his mind. It becomes words to him. And these are the words that everybody thinks, whatever you think in English, in Hebrew, in Spanish, or whatever language you're thinking. What every person thinks about with his brains. So pure feeling. The Alter Rebbe just explained to you that you have two different things in your life. You have pure feeling and you have intellectual feeling, thoughtful feelings. So pure feelings, however, meaning feelings that have not yet reached the applied implement stage of thought, transcend difference of nations and language, since it's not expressed in letters. Every person has the same feeling. They want a good day. They want to have a great day. Doesn't make a difference where you are in the world. Every person wants the same thing, what it says in the Constitution. Freedom, enjoyment, to live a happy life. Then every person is going to think about what's their happiness. Some people, it's a good day in their business. Some people, it's a good day in their food. Something's a good day in their learning, whatever that might be. And now you're going to think about that thing in a different way than old people. Some people will think about it in English, words of English, and some people think about it in Russian. From all this, we may understand that the Alter Rebbe's earlier statement that a spoken word is utterly without value in comparison to the soul's intellect and emotional powers. So here the Alter Rebbe said all this to prove one concept. If you understand this, that to who you really are, to the chesed that you are, to what you really want. What does a person really want? It's an important thing to think about. What's the pure feeling of a person? What's his pure entity? Not what he does or how he does it. What are your feelings? What do you want today? That's why the Chachamim established Birchas HaShachar. The blessings in the morning. When I get up in the morning, I say Moedani and I wash my hands. What do I really want? That's why the first bracha is Ashayotza, healthy body. Kind of shamash and a satabi, healthy soul. And what means a healthy body and a healthy soul? Then we go to the 15 brachas. Be able to walk, be able to talk, to be able to learn, to be able to dress, to be able to stand up, etc., etc. To have wisdom. Sechvi, bina, lahafchin. Those are important things that we take for granted. So really, like, when all this we understand out to Rebbe's earlier statement, that spoken word. So when you come to ultimately the spoken word, the person actually speaks. Is utterly without any value in comparison to the soul's intellect before it has words. And the emotional power, the pure feelings, which is described here as our purpose, as the essence of the soul. The essence of the soul is the attributes of the soul. Not the garments of the soul, but the attributes of the soul. The main attributes of the soul are Chochmah, Bina, and Das, Chesed, and Gevurah. So surely then the divine word, if you understand it within yourself, the word to your essence of your soul, what about the word of God? When it says, Asarim Amaris Nivra Elam, with 10 utterances, God created the world. What is the comparison, one word to God, to the essence of God? Garnished. Nothing. It's not one is big and one is small, one has a lot, and one is small, one has many, one has less. There's no comparison. Surely the divine word, which God creates and animates all the world, has no value to God, who is truly absolutely infinite. Thus, all the worlds created and sustained by divine word are non-existent. Non-existent from God's perspective. And their presence does not affect any change in his unity because they're non-existent. And they only exist because he exists, as Alter Rebbe is going to continue. But first we have to understand Ein Oid Milvade. We have to understand Yesh Me'ayin, something that comes from nothing. Something that comes from nothing has no existence. The theme we'll further discuss in the following chapters. So here is something that we're not asking you something, in essence, we're not asking over here, the Alter Rebbe is not asking you to believe. It's something that you need to comprehend this concept. My friends, you need to comprehend it. You need to learn this over and over to comprehend what the Alter Rebbe wants to tell you. Today is the 6th day of the month, which is chapter 35 to chapter 38. If you do those 4 chapters, you do the chitas of the day. The Rebbe writes today on the 6th day of Shvat. Previous Lubavitch Rebbe says, my father wrote that he heard in the name of the Alter Rebbe that all rabbinical authorities, until including the Taz and the Shach, the Taz was written by David Halevi in the 1600s. The Shach was written by Shabtai HaKohen also in the 1600s. So he writes that all the Alter Rebbe says that all these commentaries that were written by the sages from then until then, from the time of Moshe Rabbeinu until the time of the Shach and the Taz, composed their works by Ruach HaKodesh, divine spirit. What does that mean? Individuals, Ruach HaKodesh, explained in Karban HaLevi, the Tractate of Shkolim, end of chapter 3, means that the mysteries of Torah are revealed to him. That's Ruach HaKodesh. Ruach HaKodesh means, which means divine spirit. That's what the simple meaning is. But really, Ruach HaKodesh means that the person has the capability to see the rest of the story, to see the hidden aspects of the Torah. This comes from the aspect of Chachma in its pre-revelation state. That means that the person is connected to the he's connected to the conscious, it's subconscious as he's connected to the conscious. He's connected to Chachmas Hagal Agluya, the revealed concept, as he's connected to the Chachmas Stemoi, connected to the hidden wisdom, to the subconscious, what's behind the conscious. We can understand the subconscious from the conscious. We can understand in a way, but it's very hard for us. Maybe we'll never understand the subconscious of everything. Just like it's hard for us to understand our own subconscious self. We can understand our conscious, but we can understand that there's something behind it. But they live with that. They live with the concept of the hidden aspect of Chachma, the way Chachma Stimoi, the hidden concept of the wisdom behind the revealed wisdom, the hidden aspect of the wisdom that's behind this revealed. And by them it was revealed. By them, by these great tzaddikim, they live with that part of the wisdom as if it was a revealed wisdom to them. And that's meaning of Ruach HaKodesh. So the Alter Rebbe, in essence, says all these sages that wrote in the times of Moshe Rabbeinu until 1600s, all wrote the Perushim Beruach HaKodesh. They had this gift of having Chachmas Timah, that the hidden subconscious wisdom was revealed to them. I want to invite you all tonight. We're having a class that the JLI put together, which is connected to this subject, decoding the Talmud, which is Torah Sheba'al Peh, to understand the Talmud and why the Talmud came about and why ultimately throughout the ages, nations of the world, the first thing they wanted to do was destroy the Talmud, even more than the Chumash itself. But they wanted to destroy Torah Sheba'al Peh. They wanted to destroy this concept of the oral law and the beauty of the Talmud and how to look at the Talmud. It's a fascinating JLI class that they put together, a 6-week class. We're going to be doing it on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. at Chabad. And you should partake in it. It's not on Zoom. It's at Chabad at 7 p.m. tonight. We're starting the first class. If you haven't signed up, you're still welcome to participate and become part of this fascinating 6-week class. I promise you that you're going to learn things that you haven't learned before. And I'll open you up your eyes to Torah Shebeksav, Torah Sheba'al Peh, and the purpose of the written law and the oral law and how they work hand in hand. And it's not just a bunch of sages coming together. As I just read in Tanya, I just read in the Yom Yom, it's all divine. The Gemara was surely before the 1600s. So the Gemara was all divine inspiration. This is Chachmas Timai. Whatever you see in the Gemara, whatever you see in the Talmud, is Chachmas Timai. It's revealed, but there's a lot behind it. It's the hidden wisdom of HaKadosh. I wish you all a wonderful day. And Mitzshem will continue tomorrow at 8 o'clock, learning the Chitas of the day. Have a wonderful and beautiful day.